chord voicings with larger intervals and a bigger range are really good if you want to lay down some rich sounding sustained chords. Drop2 and 4 voicings is a good way to start working on this systematically, and in this lesson I'm going to go over how you can convert your Drop2 voicings into Drop2 and 4 voicings. In this lesson I'm gonna assume that you already checked out Drop2 Voicings. I made several lessons on it, and I'm gonna link to a playlist as a video card that you can check them out if you wanna refresh what's going on with Drop2 Voicings. They're an important subject in playing jazz guitar, so they're well worth your time checking out. What I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna just explain what a Drop2 and 4 voicing is, how it's constructed, and how we can convert a Drop2 voicing into it. So if we start with a D7 in a root position, just normal D7 stack of thirds, then if you number the notes, you will get like 1, 2, 3, 4 of this voicing, which means that the 2 is the A and the 4 is the D. So we have these two, and we're going to drop them, which means that we're going to put them down an octave, and that could be here, for instance. And then we still have the F sharp and the C. And if I play the F sharp on the second string, I have this voicing. So that's if we're constructing this just from the normal stack of thirds. But since we already know the Drop2 voicings, if I take this Drop2 voicing and then drop the second lowest note here, an octave, then I get the same here. So that's the principle. That's what I'm going to do with just the normal set of voicings that we need. So a major 7, a minor 7, a dominant 7, and a minor 7 flat 5. And then I'm going to give you some examples of how you can use this in some 2-5-1 cadences. The first voicing is going to be the A minor 7. So if we take the A minor 7 Drop2 voicings on the top set of strings, then we get these. And then I'm going to drop down the note on the G string, and then we get this. And as you can maybe tell, we have sort of 2 notes here, and then we skip a string, and then we have another 2 notes. That's the fingering I'm going to use for all of these voicings. You can do it in other ways too. There are of course ways where you can sort of have more strings that you don't use in between, but this way of playing it is kind of easy to keep consistent. Of course it means that you can't really play it with a pick, because sometimes we're going to be doing stuff like this, where if I play this with a pick I would also have an F sounding in here. So of course you could do this, I guess. So I play this with my fingers. That just seems so much easier when I'm playing these kind of voicings. If you want to check out how to do this with a pick, then you just need to sort of work out ways of making sure that you're muting, in this case, the G string. It's possible for sure, but these kind of, I guess these voicings just kind of belong in a territory where I would say I would play it with my fingers. The second chord is a D7, and that will be these Drop2 voicings. And then if we start converting them, we will get these. Then we have the G major 7, so these Drop2 voicings. And that will be converted into these G major 7 Drop2 and 4s. The last voicing set is going to be the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, and that will be these Drop2 voicings. And if I convert them, then that will be these. So that's the 4 chord types. What you have to watch out with a little bit when you're working with this is that sometimes, like for this chord, we have sort of the important color notes of the chord, so the 3rd and the 7th, on top and then the bass of the chord beneath it. And it is a certain sound, and it can be hard to voice lead in a way so that you can sort of move around freely, because in the next voicing you want to use, it's going to be the other way around, and then it's not going to move too smoothly. But I think the way to think about this is actually, well, it's actually not to think about it and just try it out, listen to it, and see what you can make work. I think it's just as important that you try to make something that melodically makes sense and moves in a natural way as it is to have the theory and the voice leading correctly. If we think too much about voice leading, then probably it's going to be in the way of the music, and you're better off just trying to find some stuff that you really think sounds good and then stick with that. Experiment, try it out, that works the best in most cases. So now I'm going to go over some different examples of 2-5-1 cadences in the key of G, since the chords we've been working with here were all in the key of G. I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to give you some different options for playing the dominant and some voice leading and melody ideas, and try to cover also an alto dominant, some stuff, but I'm going to use material that I already covered in the Drop2 lessons, so you should be kind of familiar with it, and otherwise you can also look it up there or ask me in the comments if it's really a mystery what's going on. So the first example sounds like this. So nothing really mysterious going on, really just the basic first example. A minor, D7, G major 7. And because it's spread out like this, it still kind of sounds interesting, even though I'm just using really basic chord notes and there are no extensions and no alterations all happening. It still kind of works because it is a little bit something that we're not used to with these really big sounding chords. And I think you should also be aware that when you're playing chords like this, you're probably not going to be like playing stabs and interesting rhythms. I think this is something you want to do with voicings that you want to let ring out, and that it has a purpose to have these huge constructions that are happening in the music, and you want to use it for sustained sounds more than sort of normal comping and those kind of rhythms. The second example sounds like this. So now I'm using a C major 7 voicing for the A minor, and I'm using this F sharp half diminished voicing for the D7, and then just a G major 7. And you can kind of hear when I'm playing the example again, I think these voicings lend themselves really well to being arpeggiated in different ways. Nice way to sort of work with the sound of these sort of extended range chords. The third example sounds like this. So here I'm just going back to using the straight A minor voicing, and then I play D7 altered, and the voicing I'm using for this is C half diminished or E flat minor 6. It really looks E flat minorish like this, and then add a 6 up here. But I think in all the other lessons I'm talking about how you can use the chord from the 7th as a half diminished if you want to play an alto dominant. So in this case the 7th of D is C, and that half diminished is this voicing in this position. And then I'm resolving that to G major 7. That was 3 examples of how I might use Drop2 and 4 voicings, and also demonstrating how you can construct them from your own Drop2 voicings that you probably already know. If you want to download a PDF of the examples that I went over here, then you can go to my website. There's a PDF download in the article that accompanies this lesson. If you've never seen any of my videos, then you can of course subscribe to my channel. I release a new lesson video every Thursday, and I've been doing this for quite some time, so there's like 100 videos already, and there's a lot of stuff covered on jazz guitar and improvising and extended harmony and stuff like that. I'm probably going to make a second part of this lesson, so where I start working more with more extensions and alterations and stuff like that, because I kind of started using it already in the examples, but you can get some really interesting voicings and some interesting constructions out of this approach, and I think it's worthwhile checking out. Kind of reminds me always a bit of Holdsworth, because I know he uses it from time to time, and it fits also with his kind of playing, where he has these chord melody things with a lot of sustain and reverb and that kind of sound. That's really where I sort of hear it. If you have any suggestions for topics or things you want to ask me, or if you have any ideas for stuff I should do different, then please leave a comment on the video, or get a hold of me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter, and it's always nice to get feedback from you guys, because that makes the lessons better and means that I can make the lessons in the way, and also the kind of lessons that you wanna see, which is useful for me, of course. So let me know what you think. And of course, there's also a lot of people watching these lessons who know a lot of stuff, so if you ask something in the comments, then it's likely that more people can chime in than me. So you never know. In any case, thank you for watching, and until next week.